Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my live for today. My name is Srishta Tiwari. I am an emotional intelligence love coach and quantum journeys hypnotherapist. That basically means that I help high achieving, intellectual, heart centered women magnetize soul love above the age of 35. Call in soul love if they're in a twin flame relationship, help them through that relationship. And I also help you to get clarity, understanding, and transformation on your love journey or life journey. And today I'm really excited. I'm always excited to talk about my client experiences, anonymously, of course, and what they would have experienced during hypnotherapy with me. So, I just want to explain a little bit what quantum journeys hypnotherapy is because it is different to other types of hypnotherapy and it is different to talk therapy. So, a lot of times, persons who come to me, they believe that what I do is similar to what a psychologist does, and it's not. First of all, I'm not a psychologist, but a psychologist interacts mostly with your conscious mind. Talk therapy deals with consciously what you're aware of and the things you want help with or the things you want help coping with. And your conscious mind is actually 5% of your brain. Your subconscious mind, which contains all the data programming of you in this life, and if you believe in past lives, it contains that too, or life between lives, it can contain all of that information. That makes up 95% of your brain. And in hypnotherapy, usually that is the part of the brain that they're accessing. You are relaxed. A hypnotic state is just relaxation. And we have all been hypnotized, right? So if you have ever driven down the highway and you have no idea how you got home, it is because you are accessing your subconscious brain and your conscious brain was switched off, right? You weren't actively thinking, but you know how to get home. You know it by heart, right? And then that means it's programmed into your subconscious brain. So, on some level, we have all been hypnotized to some degree. And what hypnosis does with a practitioner is they get you into that relaxed state so they can access all your answers within, because all our answers are within, separate from our projections of the actual world. So, hypnotherapy usually accesses the subconscious mind, and quantum journeys hypnotherapy accesses both the subconscious mind and your highest consciousness, your highest self, your future self, your intuition, whatever you want to refer to that as. It also accesses that. So, in quantum journeys hypnotherapy, what we do is we take you into the hallway of answers in the quantum field, and in that hallway, depending on what comes up when we do your subconscious assessment or audit, because before I actually do a session with you, we do a 20-minute session where I just do a subconscious assessment of what you need to treat with. And when we go into the hallway of answers, we would treat with those things. What you want to release, acquire, understand, we treat with those things. And just to add, I got into this because I won a session with the person who developed Quantum Journeys hypnotherapist. Her name is Kristen Marie Bowman. And I won a session with her and it was completely amazing. And one day I will talk about it. And because of that, I studied it and became a practitioner. So I want to tell you about a client experience. And this client, I like to profile the client for you. This person, I actually never knew her. So all of my clients besides her to now, I have known the person either through Zumba, because I also teach Zumba, or like someone, a co-worker, someone who knows me or who has been following me for a while. Now this person, she was following me, but I never interacted with her. I didn't know her. And I had a sort of a competition in my private Facebook group, and the prize was a hypnotherapy session with me, and she won it. And so she is an intelligent, bright young lady. She's actually in her 20s and she has her degree and her master's. And when we did the subconscious audit, she wanted to release childhood trauma. She wanted to understand love and be the best version of herself. So the first thing I usually do, depending on what is happening and what the person says, is I usually transform the resource state for what you want to release, right? Because in hypnotherapy, it is believed that we have more than 100 parts within us, right? So just as though you are a person, you are an employee, you also somebody's manager, you're probably also on a board, you're somebody's mom, you could be somebody's aunt. All of those roles and titles, you behave differently in some slight way. There are different parts of you that enact those roles and those titles. So in the first part, the ego resource state transformation, we go in to transform that resource state that is helping you hold on to whatever it is, and we transform that into a more useful resource state. So in her case, when I went in to help release the childhood trauma, she had remembered when she was 4 and her parents were separating. So she had a lot of emotional heartbreak around that. And I would have worked with her to, of course, transform this state. And she realized that those feelings had come into her at that point in life to help her, to teach her to be strong. And of course, being a 4-year-old, it is very difficult to process a situation like that. But now being in her 20s, she no longer needed that part of her to remain the 4-year-old and to remain heartbroken and traumatic, because of course a lot in her life has changed since then, and she has flourished and she is a woman in her own right. She's accomplished. So I would have done work with her on that, and we would have transformed that part. And then when we went into the actual hypnotherapy session, the interesting thing is when we went into the hallway of answers, she couldn't see her highest consciousness. Now, sometimes, depending on your, how you're doing in life, depending on how in tune you are with yourself, the highest consciousness can be hiding or can be afraid that she doesn't have a voice and she doesn't come forward. And this is the first time the highest consciousness didn't come forward. And because this client only had one session, because she won a session, she wouldn't have had the 3-session package. I could have pushed and looked and figured out where the highest consciousness was, but I really wanted to get her what she asked for to release and acquire and all of that. So I went into the hallway and we explored the doors she was being attracted to. So the first door she went into, she actually saw her mother coming forward, and her mother was a little bit younger, and her mom wanted to take her to show her something. So I said, okay, well, let's go. So her mom took her into this room, and she said I believe it was a blue sky. And what I remember she saying is that there's a lot of lights and stuff shining in the sky, but she was the brightest light, right? The room was really bright. It was a really bright room her mom took her in. But of all the lights, she was the brightest light in the sky. And in the hypnotherapy session, her mom told her, I'm here to love you and support you in every way possible. And we asked her mom how can she acquire financial freedom in her family life, because she had come to me for that. And she was told to just be you, and doing good and good things will follow once she is you, giving and getting in return. And this is something I actually teach, like how to be your authentic self, because honestly, once you can do that, everything just flows in. But this is the advice that she got. She got some other advice as well. And yeah, and her mother actually pointed to a star that outshines the rest, as it happened in the session, and told her this is her and this is who she is. So the interesting thing, I have another part to tell you, but the interesting thing with this is, so I went along with it, I guided her, we had the experience, but I didn't know that she had doubts or concerns on pleasing her parents. I didn't know that. So when I messaged her a couple days after or a week after, and I asked her how she's feeling since the session, and she told me she got so much clarity on, I believe it was with her parents, and I asked if she could explain that because I didn't know what that meant. And then she told me that she had this fear that she wasn't pleasing them, and she was afraid of certain things. But the session made it clear to her that her mom is supporting her and wants her to do her best and sees her as the brightest star in the sky. I believe it was night though. Yes, I'm seeing star here, so I just remember her telling me the room was really, really bright. But that brought her so much clarity and understanding. And I was so happy as well that she got so much clarity because you know how much we want to please our parents. So that was one room. And then she had seen two doors and one with a blue light she really wanted to go into. So we went into this other room with the blue light, and she was seeing the rays of the sun. Now this is funny, right? Because this person is in a twin flame relationship. So she went into one room where it was bright, but it was a night sky with stars. And this other room, there's the sun. And that alone is the duality of a twin flame relationship. But anyhow, so I'm digressing. So she went into this room, and so I just asked who was coming forward, because in the hallway of answers, you could go into many different rooms, like a temple of healing. You could go into one with guides. There are different ones, right? So we were exploring, and I said, see who's coming forward. And her twin flame actually came forward. And so we had a conversation with him, and he, in this session, what in 3D on the earth, their situation is one where there is a circumstance around his situation, and she's believing that that is the reason. Well, I'll say one of the reasons that they are not together. But when we went into the hypnotherapy session and he came forward, he actually told her how much he loved her. I'm going to say exactly what he said. I love you and I want you. I don't want anyone else. Just you and you alone. And then he said, take as much time as you need. He will wait. And something like that says to me, and this is just my interpretation, that the circumstances around their relationship are being created by her. Because what happens in twin flame situations is, once there is still learning on the part of either of them, a situation is created to keep you apart or to enact a separation, and you are kept separate by circumstances. It could be distance, it could be anything, until that dissolves, right? So she realized that he was waiting on her, and she said sometimes she doubts the relationship, and she doubts if he really likes her. But this was very clear, and it's so peaceful in the quantum, that he is waiting on her. And I was explaining to her again how sometimes you may think you can't be with this person because of whatever circumstance, wherever they are. But it is we who creates the circumstance with the thoughts in our head, with our beliefs and our perceptions. And that is what happened in my relationship. When we separated, I had very low self-esteem, and I never believed that the person would really want me. And that alone is enough for your twin flame to separate from you. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like on earth, we view it as a bad thing. But it is that they are giving you space to go on your journey, to understand who you really are, and to help you to learn to live authentic to you. And that separation is an accelerator and a catalyst for that. Because if you didn't love them so much, you probably wouldn't care where they are. And you'd probably just be getting by on life and not having this longing in their heart. And believe me, they have it too. Okay, but I'm just talking from the point of view of the woman, who usually the woman is the one who chases, not always. And I have actually met women who, where the guy is the one who's chasing and they really not bothered. But for someone in a twin flame relationship to get something like this, there are no words. There are no words. And this is how I felt the first time I had my hypnotherapy session. And I actually got, I don't want to, I don't want to say it because I feel like certain things I need to tell him first. But I got so much clarification, and I felt the pure love in the quantum. So this was her experience, and she did tell me after how much it had helped her, especially firstly the part with her parents and knowing that they just want her to be the best that she can be. And secondly, this part, because of course she had doubts being in this relationship and knowing that he is actually the one waiting, which suggests to me once she steps into her power and steps into her authentic self, the situation he is in would quickly dissolve and they would come together. So if you're interested in my hypnotherapy sessions, I am currently offering it introductory at $14.99 TT or $222 US. The session is 90 minutes to 2 hours. And before we do this session, I have to do that 20-minute session. Currently, that session is free. So when you book that session, I do the subconscious audit on that and I take the payment on the call. You could either choose one session. I actually recommend a package of 3 sessions because you never know what would happen. And a 3-session package is 3,500 TT or 515 US. So usually in hypnotherapy, for whatever you want to work on, it takes 1 to 6 sessions, but we're an average of 3. So I just recommend a 3-packet session, and that way, if we get stuck in the first session, because sometimes that happens, it depends on you and how much we are able to go through, then you have the other sessions as well. And it allows me to do like, sorry for that bad, it allows me to do like a rebalancing and recalibration of different parts within you, that part that likes to control, the protector part, and all of those things. I would do that with you once you book the 3-packet session. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try to leave the link in the caption. If you're interested in hypnotherapy and experiencing the quantum field and getting answers to questions you have in your life and getting transformation, because remember, the things that I do is to help transform your life. It is not to keep you stuck in sessions upon sessions upon sessions upon sessions. It is to help you transform your life. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I'll see you guys again soon. Have a great morning, evening, night, wherever you are. Sending lots of love. Bye.